our daughters. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Wow. I would imagine that as a life coach, many of the issues that you deal with, the origin of the problems has something to do with self-esteem, huh? Or the lack of it.
Many times it is self-acceptance, just because of the things that we've been programmed to think, and the environment and the media, what's right and what's wrong. So a lot of times the things that we deal with is just reprogramming the mind to accept yourself for who you are.
Wow. And I think I just read an article the other day, and Taye Diggs wrote an article, and he was talking about growing up and wanting to be in Hollywood. And he had almost a self-loathing for himself because he's a dark-skinned male. Yes. And he says, I can act, I want to act, but I don't see very many people like me in the business. So therefore, I don't want to look like this. Yeah. I want to look like something else. But he said he finally came into an acceptance that I have to accept who I am and be happy in that. And that just opened your eyes. I imagine that happens much younger. To young kids who says, they look up and they see a Halle Berry, who looks like Halle Berry, Beyonce, who looks like Beyonce, and most don't qualify, huh?
Pretty much.
If it's a qualification.
We, especially as parents and teachers, people who have influence in children's lives, we have to be very mindful of the norms that we set around children. And we can tell them, yes, you see these people on TV, but they're programmed and they're constructed into looking a certain way, and you may not look that way, but you're still just fine the way you are.
Oh, how difficult is that to be 13 or 14 and everyone who's rich and famous looks different?
It's all about accepting your own difference.
And that my difference is good.
And it's good enough.
And good enough.
It's good enough, and you have to accept it, and you have to exude that same energy, that this is me, accept me for who I am, or you don't get to experience me.
Wow. When we don't learn that, what happens?
All kind of things can happen. We can have superficial relationships. We can have people who take advantage of us just for that look. We can experience rejection when we don't look the certain way that people want us to. All kind of emotional baggage can come from just not accepting who you are and letting people just come into you for a facade.
Wow. Now, I'm going to start with one of the first things you said is sometimes, especially our daughters, but even I guess the males too, will accept a relationship in high school because I want to be popular. The popular kids have girlfriends and boyfriends, and that's how I'm going to qualify.
Yeah. It's hard. I have a 13-year-old daughter.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, those are the years where they're...
And she's beautiful, and I'm not just saying it because I'm her mom, but she is beautiful, and I have to remind her that you are good enough just the way you are. We're both natural. She doesn't wear any perms, and she's a beautiful girl. And as her mom, I feel that's my duty to constantly remind her that inside and out that she is beautiful, and don't let anyone else tell her anything different. Because
the absence of that means that she's going to be trying to hear that from somebody. Well, let's go to Melissa. She is on the line. Good afternoon, Melissa. How are you today?
Hey, Dee. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. So, what do you think of the conversation? We're actually kind of springing off of a conversation from TED Talks, where one of the supermodels was saying that, I won the lottery, if that's the way you want to look at it. I have everything that the supermodels are supposed to have. She said, but my friends, I want them to know because I have this, you are no less than I am. This is a business and a job. So what's your question and comment?
Yes, I think that it's really important for us to understand, like Brandi was saying, that those famous people are constructed. Like they have people behind him that are creating and spinning an image. And so it's not real. And so to try to hold yourself up when you don't have those kind of resources is impossible, and you're causing yourself more pain by doing that.
Well, Melissa, I don't know. I'll kind of spring it on you. Can you be real with us? Is it something, a place where you're at, where you can talk about it? Did you ever have a time when you were measuring yourself against what was supposed to be the norm?
Yes. When I was a teenager, I wanted to have really small thighs. And I finally realized that no matter how much exercising I do, that's never going to happen, like the model.
Okay, so now what do you say when you look at Melissa in the mirror and you say, Melissa has larger thighs and
and I'm beautiful. And the thing is, society is great. You know, I mean, society is involved.
Oh, we just lost your cell phone. I'm sorry. But thank you so much for calling. And she is one of our faithful viewers. And whenever she calls, she really has some insightful information. But she's look at yourself and say, I am beautiful, huh?
And I am enough.
I am enough.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
What about our young men? Trying to identify, because there's a standard for them too. I read a statistic the other day that more young men are even becoming anorexic because they see Ashton Kutcher, who is tall and this thin, and they see Jimmy Kimmel and some of, they're very thin to be in Hollywood, even the men. And so our boys are saying, you know, if I'm going to look good, I have to be thin.
Even for the boys, it's just all about setting a standard for yourself. Like for when I have a son too, and I'm always telling him to stay active, watch what you're eating, and you're going to grow into the person that you're wanting to be. Not everybody's going to be 2 pounds. Not every man is going to be muscular He-Man looking, but you too are good enough. Just strive to being healthy.
Wow. We're going to go to the break. We have some people on the phone that are waiting, but let's go to a break and we'll be right back. Great conversation today. We're talking about looks. Is there too much emphasis on what we look like? And when I say call, be the 8th caller, and we're giving away Fahrenheit 451. You can win this iconic novel. Brandi and I will be right back. We have Stan and Elias on the phone. Let's start with Elias this afternoon. What a conversation we're having. Do you think there's too much pressure to look a certain way in our society? And what if you don't look that way?
Well, one thing I do believe in, say greetings, Brandi. How are you today? How everybody today this morning?
Hi, Elias.
One thing that I do know is very important is self-image. Self-image is so important. Creation or God itself has created things that we can see visually. So there's nothing wrong with self-image. But the thing that appears to us that be wrong is how we look and how we portray ourselves before the world. These are the things that hurt us in the long run. And see, that's why it's so important for us to teach self-love. Not self-love meaning that, look, I love you, talking to someone else on the outside, but just simply looking in the mirror at least 2 or 3 minutes a day and really genuinely telling yourself that you are a beautiful human being, that you are a gift from God. And I just believe that it's so important to just appreciate ourselves, because we appreciate the new cell phone, we appreciate our new car, television, our new boyfriend or girlfriend, or our new job. But the most important thing that God wants us to appreciate is to love ourselves. And I think the lack of love of self is not allowing us to appreciate those who we see visually, our companions that's living with us on this earth together.
Okay. You know, there used to be kind of a disconnect that Hollywood was Hollywood and that was not real life. Do you think that too much of that is becoming, and it may not be reality, that Hollywood is life? It's not real life. But somehow we want to dress like them, we want to be them, and that is a whole different, that's a facade.
Reality shows are spilling off into real life. And so people are saying, okay, well, this is the way that they're living their lives, and so I need to be fabulous in stilettos every day myself. And so it sets an unrealistic standard for everyday living.
Wow. Because I tell you what, I bet you Nene not in stilettos every day. She's in stilettos when they're taping. Okay.
And we've seen Kim without makeup.
Yes. And there's a large magazine article about Kim having had some facial surgery and possibly some other surgeries to enhance, although she is already a beautiful woman.
Yes.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Stan. How are you? Oh, Stan couldn't hold on, and I'm sorry. Sometimes people are calling from work or calling on their lunch break or something, and I try to get to you as quickly as possible. But when you're talking with your kids, Brandi, is this something that you consciously tell yourself that I need to affirm them?
Yes, of course. basically it's just self-acceptance and not only being able to accept the beauty in yourself, but accepting the beauty in others, especially as children, because children can be cruel. And you've seen it. I've told my own daughter, because she'll say, "Mommy, somebody was at school." When she was going to school, you know, she homeschools now. But when she was at school, they said this about me. And I said, "Nia, it's only because they couldn't find anything else with you." So I want you to remember you are beautiful inside and out. And as long as you're doing what's right, you're okay.
Don't worry about them, huh?
You're okay.
Good afternoon, Stan. How are you, my friend? What is your question or comment for Brandi?
I'm fine, Dee. How are you?
Wonderful.
Awesome. Dee, I might be off topic a little bit, but I think the problem with this is I like to think that parents are vicariously living through their kids. And what I mean by that, I notice a lot of young ladies are very provocative. And if I say that to say, if you look at the parents and you look at their daughters, you're pretty much looking at the same image. And the same thing with the males. If you look at the father, he's wearing his pants off his body. Look at his child, and you'll see the same thing. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's a bad thing. But I think parents got a tendency to vicariously live through their kids. Maybe it was a void in their life coming up that they was missing, and they're trying to live that through their own kids. And I think that's the big problem.
Okay, well, hold on right there. But Brandi's shaking her head yes. You agree with that?
To an extent, yes, because I think as parents, we always reflect back to our childhood and say, "Oh, mom was too strict, so when I have my children, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to allow them to do that." And so it's a very fine line between wanting your child to still be stylish and have a sense of freedom, but doing a little bit too much and leaking your own childhood things into adulthood. So yeah, I can agree with that to an extent.
So as parents, Stan, how do we know when we've gone too far? Do you think that parents are conscious of doing this?
I think they are conscious of that, and I think if nothing else, with that you're putting more pressure on your child. There's more pressure there because that child is not honestly being who they want to be and who they are, and they feel as though I have to live up to what my mother, my father want me to live up to. I don't want to wear these heels. I'm not comfortable with heels. I want to wear tennis shoes, but my mom would not allow that. You know?
Wow. Well, let me ask you.
Challenge.
Do we perpetuate this in that we allow them to watch the Justin Bieber videos? We allow them to jam to Rihanna. We allow are we part of what has happened, or how does that all come together?
Well, that's a whole nother topic there, T, and it goes to the key word, what it is that you allow in your household, and I can go on and on for that, and I don't want to do that. But definitely, obviously, the media plays a vital role in what's going on with our kids today. But at the same time, parents have to know when and how to step in there and ensure that they're not being a friend, but they're actually being a parent.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for calling. And a lot of our topics are family topics, and when we're programming, we think they're female topics. But, you know, it's really interesting that men feel passionately about many of the same things that we feel about. And so I appreciate Stan and the other males who call. We have Alicia on the phone. Good afternoon, Alicia.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. What's your question or comment? Do you love yourself, girl?
I sure do, and I'm not the looking woman.
Do you look good?
I look good to me.
That's right. Okay. What's your question?
I feel good.
All right. What's your question or comment?
Yes, I do. I'm looking at it like this right here. We are a diverse universe. Yes, I do.
Oh, boy. Sometimes those doggone cell phones drop in and out. And you know what? That's going to be the bane of our existence because most people have cell phones now.
Yes.
Let's see if we can get Alicia or Shannon. Is Alicia on the line? Shannon is there. Hello, Shannon. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Pretty good. You can start by affirming yourself. Say something wonderful about Shannon.
Shannon is a smart and independent woman.
All right, good job.
Okay. What's your question or comment?
And I am an overweight woman by everybody else's standards. But I've got a good smile. I've got a lot of other attributes, including a nice rack. I was brought up by people who made sure that I knew all the good about me. And I brought my 2 sons up that way. Thankfully, I made some really handsome boys. One of them was taller than the rest of the kids in his class. So he got picked on for that. The kids who pick on you for whatever they're going to pick on you for have got to find something to pick on you because of something that's void in themselves. So even if you are, and I'm not kidding you, my kids are gorgeous, but there's always going to be something, is my point. So these kids who are being picked on because they're not wearing the right shoes, they're not wearing the right jacket, they're wearing glasses, which is one of the things I got picked on for, their hair isn't the right color or whatever. It doesn't matter. They're going to pick on you on something else. Affirm yourself with what the positives are in your life. And when you're a successful business person or the president of a company or whatever, they're going to be the ones that are coming to you for a job.
Okay, I like that. Thanks so much, Shannon. I think we're going to wrap right there and go to the break. Thank you so much for calling. If we can get the next caller when we come back, we will. But you've got to love yourself, and you've got to know this is a hard world we live in. But if we affirm ourselves, it is a lot easier. We'll be back after this break. A copy of Fahrenheit 451, okay? Be that 8th caller. And I want to say thank you so much to life coach Brandi Dawson on the show today. Always some great information. I'll just let you sum it up. The world and how it puts that pressure on us to be something that we're not.
Well, the thing you need to remember is that beauty is according to your own definition, not by what's in the dictionary. So you have to take a long, hard look in the mirror and say, I am good enough. I do not have to look like the people on television. That this is me, accept me for who I am, even if I'm making some transitions along the way. Yeah, I'm trying to lose some weight, but I'm still good enough right now. So you're going to accept me then and now, and I am beautiful. And when you're able to do that, you'll be able to see the beauty in everybody else.
Wow. Do you think that this is something we have all kinds of classes in school? They need to be teaching something like this, don't they?
Life skills, self-acceptance. Yes, they do need to teach this, and at an early age, because if you do it then, it becomes a habit into adulthood, because it's easier to raise a child than to fix an adult mindset.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. You got to come back soon.
Always.
Okay. And if your friends missed the show today, tell them they missed Dee Armstrong making her cat scratcher, okay? I'm going to